Welcome back to Traders Cast. I'm here with Antonio or Antonio, since you're from Italy. Bro, I'm super excited to have you on the podcast because you're not a Forex trader, or at least that's not how you identify yourself as. You're more of an option/futures trader. And nowadays, bro, everyone's getting into futures. Everyone's getting into options. Ever since this whole thing went down with MetaQuotes, essentially everyone thinks they're a futures trader or think they're an options trader. So with that being said, could you share with me a little bit about your journey and how you got into options, and what do you foresee it becoming now that everyone's trying to hop on this wave that you've been at since the beginning?
Well, first of all, I was born in Italy. I was able to come here with a green card with my dad in 2009, and I was broke, joined the army when I was 17, straight out of high school. And I was always looking ways to make money because I kind of grew up where I lived in California in a rough neighborhood. And kids were kind of always messing with me because I had an accent. I didn't speak the language too well. So I kind of always wanted to make money. So I spent my nights, because I wasn't getting invited to parties, looking ways to make money. So then I found some, like everybody that gets into trading, I found some videos about the stock market. Was not even old enough to open an account, so I put that to the side. Joined the army, and when I joined the army, I was given a $2,000 enlistment bonus. So I had some of that capital, and when I came back from the army and boot camp and all that, because I did the Army Reserve, so I left for 6 months, did my boot camp, did my AIT, which was my schooling, and then come back. I was 18 at this point, and I went to community college.
Yeah.
And there was a guy in my class that sat way in the back, and I sat right next to him, and he happened to be trading options. So he told me he would come up to me, and he was during class, he showed me his broker and all that. He didn't have a lot of money, but he's like, yo, man, I'm going to be working on Wall Street, this and that.
So his dream was to go to Wall Street.
His dream was to go to Wall Street, and he was trading options, and this was around now 2015, 2016, so where Trump was potentially going to be a president. So his whole story to me was like, man, you got to buy option calls on Lockheed, which is a company that sells like missiles to government. They're like, if Trump gets president, we're gonna go to war for sure. And
we're gonna go to war.
And then I was like, man, I was like trading. I'm like, this looks really cool. I watched a bunch of videos when I was younger about trading, so I'm gonna get into it. So he did options. So me just being friends with him, and his dad actually knew a little bit more about it. I'll go to his house, he showed me the basics, and I just got into it right away with the options and just the stock market in general.
Yeah.
And then with the years, I developed my strategy and kind of find out that trading these random companies based on news was more gambling than actually trading. And then,
option is mostly, by the way, stocks that you're trading.
So you can trade indices, which for us would be the ETF.
ETFs.
So for example, you have on a Forex broker, you have something like US 500.
Yeah.
Right, S&P 500. We call that SPY or SPX. So you can trade options on that, and it's simply they're all just following the ES.
And it's all the same price as in Forex.
No, actually, with the SPYs and ETFs, it's like, say the Forex price is 4,500, it would be roughly around $430. So it's much discounted.
Yeah.
And the reason they do that is being an ETF, they want to make it affordable for people that are investing, like their 401k, like say you just want to buy shares.
That's right, yeah.
So that's the way we do it. And with options, for example, another limitation that you have is you only be able to trade it through the NASDAQ Open. So 9:30 a.m.
That's right.
to 4 p.m.
You have a very specific window of when you could trade.
Yep.
But the benefits to that is if you're trading on a regulated platform, you could migrate your 401k, your IRA, and you could have that capital to trade with and self-manage your own portfolio. With that being said, what are some keystones or what are some keystone or key milestones that you have hit in your journey when it came to trading options? When was it that you essentially understood the skill set and started to make money from the skill set?
So I first got into trading when I first went to Asia was 2014. 2015, very little to no trading, or just watching some videos. 2016, opened up my first brokerage with about $2,000 to $3,000, lost it all right away. Again, I was not really studying. I was kind of just gambling on some things. I read it like everybody else. And I was a slow learner. It took me just about to 2017 to even kind of be somewhat break-even-ish.
Yeah.
Still losing some money, but I wasn't losing money to the level that I was when I first started.
Yeah, so 2012.
2014
through 2017 was all a learning curve.
Yes, but I tell people this. People are like, wow, it took you 4 years to even kind of just learn something, be break-even. I tell people it's like, what the... something my drill surgeon told me when I was in boot camp was practice doesn't make perfect. People think that practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
perfect practice makes perfect. So I might have been watching some video, I might have been taking some
That
trades,
is so fucking true.
but
Yeah.
I was gambling. I wasn't actually learning anything. I was wasting my time.
There's so much information. So I like what he said. Practice does not make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. And the reason I like how you framed that out is because there's so much information on YouTube that's bullshit.
Totally.
There's so many courses that is just a guy who learned Forex 2 months ago and now is trying to sell a course to make sales and look like he's living the Forex lifestyle when he knows nothing about the financial industry and nothing about how to actually make money in this industry. With that being said, since it's 4 years into your learning curve, what were some of the strategies or what were some of the systems that you've created to be more efficient from 2018 till today?
So one of the major ones that I just couldn't find a way that anybody else explained to me was understanding time. So I think a lot of people don't understand how important time is when it comes to trading. For example, one of my main strategies right now is I trade at 10 a.m. So 9:30, I'll be at my computer 9:30.
Yeah. So
my first
I'm gonna write that down. So understanding time.
Understanding time is very key. For example, 10 a.m. If you're watching this, go back test this and see how often the indices tend to have a major reversal at 10 a.m. and give or take 5 to 15 minutes, right? Within that 9:45 to 10:05, 10:10. So a lot of my trades come major reversals at that time.
The major reversal happens at 10.
Yep.
Okay.
And also 1 p.m. will be another key reversal time.
Okay. And what instrument is this?
I'd look at either a NASDAQ or
NASDAQ.
SPX.
Cool.
So I usually either trade NASDAQ, which would be, NQ, US 100, and NAS 100, depending what broker you're using, or the S&P 500, which again would be SPY, ES. And I would say you probably have about 80% of the times you'll notice a major reversal the opposite direction.
When you say major reversal, does that mean like a reversal in direction? So like if it's going up, reversal obviously to come down?
Yep.
Okay.
So that would mean that say you're going up, right? And you'll take out whatever.
And the two times for this is 10 a.m.
10 a.m. will be my number one.
Okay.
And my second one will be 1 p.m.
Cool. Yeah.
Now I know there is some other people that trade London and Asia and have their own times, but those are the two that I've used. I almost only trade
New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All times in EST, by the way.
Got you. So your main session to trade is New York.
Yep.
I trade Forex. Mm-hmm. I don't really trade Forex. I trade indices in the form of CFDs, contract for difference, right? Which is different than options. But with indices, I'm mainly trading the New York session because not saying that there's no volatility or action in Dow Jones during a Tokyo session, but it has nothing compared to a New York session. So that's why I typically trade always in the New York session. And typically it's kind of crazy. The times that I trade are opening bell or 10. And I saw today there was a major pullback at 10 a.m. with the Dow Jones.
I took that trade.
Yeah, I took the sell as well, which I'm going to send a screenshot so they could post the sell so you guys could see the sell. If you guys want to join Free Signals, join Pips Nation, or what is the name of your community?
Big Gains Club.
Awesome. Big Gains Club.
It is not free, like Luis, but I do stream twice a week at the very least on Twitch.
That's good that it's not free. Yeah. Yeah. I give my services for free. Here's the only reason why I give everything for free at this point. I don't need to make money off signals. I don't need to make money off courses. I don't need to make money off charging someone to use my services. So I just give it for free because when I got started in this, bro, in 2017, 2018, everyone and their mother was charging for anything. So I'm like, why am I going to charge someone something when it's for free on YouTube? A lot of people are going to say, well, you provide more value than the guy on YouTube. I'm like, exactly. That's why I'm giving it for free, because I provide more value. One of the biggest things today, I spoke to a salesperson, and the salesperson's like, not enough people are buying my product. And I'm like, well, what's the objection? That your price is too high? So I'm like, okay, here, role play with me. I told them, pretend you came to me and you said, hey, your price is too high. All you have to respond back to the customer, right, without having to hard sell them, because I hate hard sells people, is who do you know that the price is below mine? And they're going to tell you so and so and so. And then you ask, okay, why do you think my price is higher than theirs? Oh, your price is higher than there because you have better quality. You must know what you're doing better. Okay, so do you want to go with quality and someone well respected in the industry, or do you want to go with something cheap? If they go with something cheap, good. Through quantity, you'll find quality. If they go with you, you just close someone. And the reason I'm saying this is because, number one, I hate hard salespeople. And number two, for everyone that is selling something in the industry, you have to be the best. Like, you need to have a portfolio, a track record of what you've done, how you've done it, and what is the success you've gotten, not only cars.
I love that you say that, because, for example, for me, right, like someone might sell a signals group,
Yeah.
but you'll never watch them actually trade live. You'll never watch them
True.
do anything. You'll just get a little alert on a Discord or a Telegram, and then a lot of times the alert is a PT1 or something, and you don't know why did he take that trade, and then to find out what he's actually trying to teach, you have to buy a masterclass they're selling or an extra course they're selling.
An add-on. Yeah.
An add-on. While in my group, every single day, I maybe take 2 days out of the year. Like my dad went to the hospital, I didn't take the day off.
Wow.
Well, I couldn't go in because, other reasons, but I still traded that day. It actually helped me kind of not worry about that situation. But I screen record everything. It's screen recorded, saved, tracked by a third party, every single trade, entries and exit I take.
Nice.
And, P&L posted. And unlike a lot of these Forex brokers with options.
Something you also, every day I see you do this, is you actually post your live sessions on Instagram.
Every single day.
Every single day.
2 times a week is on Twitch. So if
How's the Twitch community? Is it big?
The Twitch community for trading is very small. I will say.
Gaming?
It's mostly gaming. I think with finance, YouTube is probably a little bit bigger. But I grew up playing League of Legends. And Twitch, if you were in the early days of Twitch, it was only League of Legends.
If you know Omar, right?
He told me to get on Call of Duty with you guys.
Fucking bro, get on Warzone with us.
I sometimes after the training session on Twitch, I'll put in a little something. Fortnite, the guys got me, a couple guys that trade with, they got me into Fortnite. I gotta try out Warzone. I'm not good at games, man. Like, I was good at League of Legends when I was a kid.
League of Legends. So the only game I play is Warzone. I've met traders on Warzone. Like 5 days ago, I was with a trader on Warzone. He's like, "Hey man, when we were 10 years old, 12 years old, we used to go to the same MMA school." I'm like, "What's your Instagram?" I pulled him up on Instagram. I have no idea who the fuck this guy is. Right? Because when you're 10, you could look completely different when you're 20. Puberty. Thank God I grew up. I was an ugly ass kid. Not saying I'm any prettier now, but through puberty, you may not recognize someone who is 10 from 20 through that growth if you've never seen them through that growth. So I'm like, wow, like the world is so small. This guy's playing Call of Duty with me, and he used to go to MMA with me when I was 10, 12 years old. It's like incredibly small how small the world is. With that being said, essentially you do all your live sessions on YouTube.
Everything live session? Yeah. And also alert us. So the same time, let's say enter a trade and somebody can watch the live session because work wherever, we do also ping it, and then pinging gives you that timestamp and confirm. So like for me, for example, I can't be like one of those guys that puts entry and then TP1 gets in, like, oh, it was a win. What the hell? Nobody could actually get in.
Exactly.
I'm walking you through. I'm like, hey guys, this is what I'm thinking right now.
So you're in the live trading session and you're telling people buy as soon as you buy.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to get on before.
I do the same way.
I tried to get on even before and like, hey guys, this is what I'm saying today. Like, we're gonna wait for this certain setup or this certain price to hit, and then we'll look for the buys or the sells. Yeah. So I'm giving education. Now you wanna follow along. I wanna show you my trades, because if I'm selling you something, I gotta provide the best value.
Absolutely.
And then when you go to, for example, the website we use is WAP.com. Most big communities are using WAP right now.
Yeah, I actually had a call this morning with the VP of sales for WAP.
They're great. WAP is just as a company, I wish they were
amazing individual. I had a really good conversation with him, and WAP is really, really good. I mean,
do you know that they'd asked me to message you?
They asked you to message?
Yeah.
Bro, so here's the funny part. I spoke to the VP of sales, and he's like, bro, do you know how many people I've asked to get in contact with you? I'm like,
I can't imagine.
I'm like, bro, I'm nobody. Like, I don't even sell anything. Like, why do you...
but the thing about WAP, they're not limited to only online stuff. They want to just anything.
They're expanding and creating an ecosystem of everything.
They're even getting a credit card now. I don't know what the fuck they're going to do with a credit card. I'm like, they're savages.
So they're, I don't know if I should say this, but it's not like anyone important would watch this podcast, but they're actually integrating a firm in the next 3 weeks.
Wow.
So that's major because...
It's actually insane.
let's say you're an up-and-coming trader. You're 17 years old. You're 18 years old, 16, 15. And let's say that you don't have the full $3,000, $2,000 to afford a package you may sell. As an example, they could apply with a firm. Well, for a firm, you need credit. But let's say you're 18, 19. You're going through a tough situation. And you could apply with a firm, and those $2,000 get split into 12 monthly payments, 18 monthly payments, where you're paying $50 a month, basically a phone bill, to learn how to trade from one of the best traders in the industry when it comes to options. So that's very big for them. WAP is a company that's going to do very well with how it's orchestrated, how everyone's participating in their role. I'm beyond impressed with what they're doing, in my opinion. And especially with the system that they're creating. So something that I really like about them, which is obviously the ecosystem, is how they marinate. I said marinate like you're marinating feet. How they are removing the risk from us, essentially, because there's so many clients that buy something, use it, and then do a refund or dispute it, which I understand. They could buy into someone's signals. Their signal sucks because, like you explained, no one goes through the time to tell people this is why we're going to enter the signal. Here's where we're going to enter it. Okay, we didn't enter it because of such and such reason. They don't do all the extra steps that you do. So when someone buys signals, they're like, what the fuck am I paying for?
Or even if it goes red, it'll go red, at least explain like, hey, this was what I saw.
Exactly.
It didn't work out.
So people don't do the extra steps that you do, which is justifiable to why they're disputing a payment. But they are lessening the risk on us, which is obviously a very good thing. With that being said, how do you manage your risk in the industry, right? In options specifically, and what do you advise to traders on risk management when it comes to options?
So options are much different than any other instrument.
Yeah.
For example, Forex, you have leverage. With futures, you also have leverage or moves per tick. With options, you can lose 100% what you put in, right? But you're only limited to whatever the option contract costs. So a lot of options contracts, especially for something like an ETF, can be up to, as cheap as $30, $40, $50.
By the way, for those of you guys that see me writing on this iPad, I don't know shit about options, and I'm a student of the game. So I'm writing down and learning as we're going here.
And if you guys see someone that's already very successful trading and taking notes, and if you find yourself like, hey, you watch all these videos, like educational videos you're watching on YouTube or the course you paid, and you never took a note, you never actually go apply that, like there's probably a reason why you're not doing well.
Yeah, so
always gonna be
have you ever heard the quote, note takers are money makers?
Yeah.
I find that to be complete bullshit. Even though I'm writing notes, if you're a note taker, you're probably not a money maker. A money maker is someone who takes action upon the notes that they write on. But as you were saying, so contracts are limited to the price that they're at.
Yeah. So you can lose up to 100%, but they're very limited to, for example, you buy an option contract that's for today's trade was $120.
$120.
So on your broker, it will say 1.21. That's what you will see. You would buy it, but it's multiplied by 100. So that 121 just means $121.
Okay.
So you can buy one, you can lose 100% of that. How do you lose 100% of that? Either the price goes really against you, but then options have an expiration date. Now, they expire every Friday if you are trading a regular stock. Okay. If you're trading an ETF, they can expire.
ETF is NASDAQ.
Perfect. And S&P, IWM, US 30, Dow Jones, all of those. They can expire same day, next day, and every single day of the week. Okay. So if you buy a 0-day expiration, right, the expiration expires the same day that you're buying it. The volatility of that will be insane. Like if the price moves $1, the option can move 300%. So now traders that don't have a lot of capital, they're like, well, I can put in $100, $150, potentially make 500% gain. That's where they get excited. But also on the downside, you can lose just
your whole
50
account.
to 100%, right? Which with futures you can, if you want to risk $50, you just put it, a stop loss there. But with options, a little bit different. Also with options, we have something called the Greeks. And a lot of traders that get into options don't even know what the Greeks are, don't even study it.
The Greeks
is what's called. So it's outside influenced apart from the price of the underlying asset. In this case, would be an ETF or any stock you're trading. That influences the price. Let me give you a quick example to explain this. Let's say we have a major news that day. We have FOMC. The news will make the options move extremely slow until past that. That's called implied volatility. That means the options are pricing in an extreme volatility later in the day, which in this case will be 2 p.m. And until then, even if the price moves a good amount, the option price will not move. because they're expecting, hey, it doesn't matter if it's moving $1 now because in about 2 hours it's going to move $5. So we're not going to move, market makers are not moving the price until that news comes out. Then we also have, on the other hand, once the news comes out, the volatility drops. So you might lose price on your option just because the volatility has gone down. That may sound really confusing to a lot of traders that never tried options, and that's why options are a little bit more dangerous.
So, yeah. So with that, basically with what you said, in a fast-moving world like options, since you have 1 day, your contract expires, and
you can double your money in 2 candles.
Shit!
On a 0 date.
So what happens if the contract expires and you are negative? You lose
all your money.
You lose all your money
that you put into that option price.
Okay,
so
the money
it was $100, you lost $100.
Okay, so let's say my account balance is $100 and I put $30 into that contract and it expires and I never close it.
You only lose 30.
I only lose 30.
So options are unlike futures. So futures, you have an obligation to, if it expires on futures, you have an obligation to buy those shares. You are screwed. But that's why futures expire every 3 months, every quarter. With options, you have, as the name says, you have an option to buy it. Now, 99.999% of people should never execute an option. There's literally no upside benefits unless you're something like Nancy Pelosi that's doing it for other reasons. You're not a hedge fund. You're just doing it to buy it and sell it for the volatility and make some profit on the contract.
So with that, understanding I have such a small time frame to make decisions, how do you stay informed with basically market trends, news that may impact your trading decisions?
So with news, the major news that affect options are going to be red folder news.
Red folder,
so you go on Forex Factory, make sure that either you avoid it, you take smaller position, or if you like volatility, hey, trade it. I personally...
volatility, in my opinion, equals opportunity.
No, it does, but if you're a new trader and like you want to kind of learn first before you just jump straight into the deep end. Example, for me, I love trading news. You have a lot of guys on social media that like, today's non-farm payroll, I'm not trading for 2 days. I'm like, what are you talking about? I want to trade when there is, like Lewis said, there is volatility, there is movement. That's when I make the most money. While, those guys like to trade, I guess, during flat markets. I don't know how they're making money, but it's a conversation for our story. But for me, I'll tell the group with me, hey, we have news. I'm trading it. This is my position. I tell them if you want to do risk because you have a really tiny account and you don't want to take big risks, feel free to do risk. But for example, today's trade was right into the PMI report that we took at 10 a.m. So we had the reversal in combination with news, and then we caught those really nice sells. And with options, you have to understand that if you're in the right side of the trade, then news might pump. We call it a pump into the IV.
Okay.
So a pump into the IV means the volatility was increased because you were on the right side of the trade. Now, if you were on the wrong side of the trade, you're gonna get crushed. So it's all about understanding how to trade, right before this news, right? And I do top-down analysis, start my daily, work all the way down to the 5-minute. I don't go really much lower than the 5-minute for my executions because unlike, I'm not a scalper. I like to take day trades. So, I like to be my trades for a good amount of profit. A good amount. I don't want to catch 2 candle moves.
Yeah.
But.
So since you're saying that you trade this very specific way, can you tell me about a trade that taught you a very valuable lesson and got you to pivot this way where you do things on a very specific way? Obviously, you're following your trading rules and your risk management rules, but tell me about an experience or a trade that just said, it basically made you realize, hey, I got to change things up. Because with me, the day that was I was using, this is why I hated EAs, right? And I hate people who sell EAs because they all go to shit, right? So I was trading on this EA for the last 4 months on the EA, every month, 80%, 70%, ridiculous amount, right? I was making a shit ton of money. And I was trading for people, by the way. I had like 20 investors. Each investor was like in like 150K, 200K. So I was trading about close to 3-point-something million in equity. So, bro, I wake up, it's 9 a.m. and I'm taking a flight to Los Angeles at 11. So I get to the airport at 9:30, enters gold, 50K in profit across all accounts, right? So I'm like, yo, we are lit, right? 50K in profit.
So have a good trip.
So it's 9:30 when that happens. I just get to the airport. As I'm checking in my luggage and I'm walking to the terminal in that 30-minute process, right? I don't look at my phone. And it's 9:30. right? Right when the New York session opens. Gold typically sometimes goes crazy, especially with news. So that's what gold did. Gold from 9:30 to like 10:10, 10:15 had a major reversal around 9:40 to 10. That major reversal put me in drawdown $400,000. And then I was either going to hold the position and hope for the best and let the EA do its thing, or I was going to close it. I closed it, right, and lost $400,000. And thank God I did, because gold continued to plummet. I mean, I'm talking about like from 9:30 to 10, it moved down about 50 points, which is quite a lot for gold. From 10 to 11, it moved down another 70 to 80 points. Crazy. It would have blown all the accounts up. Thank God what we blew up was the profits that the investors made, not their initial balance. And that's what essentially taught me a very valuable lesson, where EAs don't work. And here's how I knew it didn't work. From that day forward, I disconnected every investor. I left my own money. The very next day, it blew my money. If I would have left the investors connected, it would have been a shit. It would have been a shit show, man. But that's a very valuable lesson that influenced my trading strategy. And the reason I say trading strategy is because from that day I learned, hey, I can't depend on these systems. You get me? Because as soon as they get good, the liquidity provider makes an adjustment to the server. You're fucked. You get me? Your system is not going to work. It's not going to be optimized to the new update that the liquidity provider did or the broker did. So you have to change a lot of things from a technical aspect, which most developers aren't traders. They know about development, they know about software engineering, but they don't know about trading. And most traders aren't software developers. So that's where it doesn't go hand in hand. It's like oil and water. It doesn't mix well. So that's essentially why I don't use EAs, and that's pretty much a valuable lesson for me. But overall for you, what's been a valuable lesson in the marketplace?
So for us on the option space, we don't have any EAs or things like that, because the way our brokers are, that's like something that's even legal for us, right? Because we trade on like all the brokers like Thinkorswim, TD Ameritrade, Charles Schwab.
Which one's your favorite?
So for me, it's Thinkorswim.
Which is TD Ameritrade?
TD Ameritrade got recently bought out by Charles Schwab, but everything just looks identical.
Yeah.
So the issue that some people have with Thinkorswim, it's kind of an outdated, rough platform that you got to know it. But I've been trading for a long time. That was the platform that everybody used. I'm used to it. There's like some nicer looking applications, like Webull is a good one. Some people are Robinhood. I don't really recommend it, but hey, if it works,
why don't you recommend Robinhood?
They're very limited with a lot of options they have. I would say the fills are not as bad as people make it seem. People say that Robinhood has terrible fills. They're fine. My issue is that like their actual software when you're constantly trading is very limited. You don't have as many options or as many, making the charts looking the way you should as something like Thinkorswim or Webull would have. So for us, we don't have any of that. For me, it was just continuously kind of losing money, and I needed to find a way to make money, because at the time I was working.
Losing money teaches you a lesson.
Yeah, I was doing doing what retail was doing, that was trading in the stock market. I was using EMAs, VWAPs, those sort of things that it's like, okay, you get the VWAP bounce here and like you'll work once, you're like, okay, this is a decent strategy, and then it won't work 10 times.
You go back in history and you see that 3 days ago it worked perfectly, and then here it worked perfectly, and here they work.
And you buy a course and they're showing you the 5 examples where it worked.
What's funny about all these indicators is that when you go back in history, your eyes are detected to only see when it works perfectly. So you see, oh shit, it worked here, it worked here, it worked here, but you don't really realize where it didn't work.
And you'll make excuses for where it doesn't work.
Exactly.
It didn't work because maybe there was something else, right? You'll make excuses for it. It's like, no, it's just not a good strategy.
Yeah.
It's fine. Just move on and move to the next. So I was messing with indicators a lot. In the stock market world, indicators are big. Everybody uses RSIs, MACDs.
Yeah.
So I was spending a lot of time, years, just messing with these indicators. And you're like, okay, it works for 3 days, and then I'll lose. And I was just not profitable. And I was going to school not knowing what I wanted to do. I was telling my parents, oh, I'll be a lawyer, this, that. And it's just all lies. I'm like, I'm just trying to buy myself time to become profitable at trading. So then I was like, I'm just turning everything off and just focus on just looking at simply the price action. So if somebody looks at my chart, I have nothing on. I have no indicator. It's just simple price action.
My thing is simply price action. And the only 2 indicators I use are 2 moving averages. And the only reason I use them is not for the stupid little crossover how everyone does. I just use them because they are a demonstration of market trends in a smoother way. That's all they are.
And you say that I've had this conversation with my team all the time. So I was like, the only moving averages I would approve is if you're using it to be like, hey, I can see it with this moving average. I'm in a more than likely it's a bullish trend.
Exactly.
Some traders have an issue to be like
the crossover.
Yeah, exactly. But then you have to able to see through it.
Exactly.
So I should say if you're a beginner trader, focus on the only price action. And once you build enough confidence in your trading, then you can add the whatever 1 EMA or 2 EMAs, whatever you want to do, because you have enough confidence you can see through it. You're not hung up like, oh, I need to catch the bounce on the EMA. That's more than likely not gonna work. So I would, in that scenario, I'm fine with it. Or hey, if anybody's actually can show me their profitable indicators, I support it. At the end of the day, you can trade ICT, retail, EMAs, moon cycles now. Some people talk about. If you're profitable and you can show me, hey, look, I'm in money. Fuck it, I make money. I don't give a
shit. Everyone has a strategy that works for them. Mine's works for me, and I'm happy with it. If the one that you use works for you and you're happy with it, keep going with it. With that being said, in the year of 2023, right? How much money did you make across all of your portfolios?
If you want to include my long-term investing portfolio as a day trading portfolio, or just simply as its own, because with 2023 was actually a really good year for my long term, because I bought a lot of dips in 2022 when we had a crash, and I actually have a YouTube video.
How much did you make? Just if you don't mind sharing, of course.
So with the long term portfolio, it was around 4.1 million.
4.1 million.
Yeah, and then I actually have on my Instagram page, I have multiple withdrawals from Thinkorswim, and I also I use M1 Finance for my long term portfolio, and I have a video. My long portfolio I did not sell. I'm still holding. And that on that portfolio is almost at 5 million itself.
Nice. So with that, where do you think that you're going to be in the beginning in January of 2015, 12 months from now?
Is it January of 2015?
I'm sorry. In January of 2025. I think I was
negative. In January of 2025.
Yeah.
So pretty much 2024 completed.
Yeah.
My goal for the year is always say 7 figures. I try not to give myself a monetary like, hey, I need to make 3 million, because I don't want to feel myself pressured. But I hope to be around that $1.8 million mark. That's
$1.8 million mark.
And
then with your long-term investments?
My long-term investment, I'm actually selling a lot of it now. So I'm hoping, and I posted this for about it.
Why? That's so curious. Why are you selling them now, knowing that Trump is most likely, essentially, going to win? Well, if it does not get corrupted and all that stuff.
Well, so I bought them all at the end of 2022, which was almost near the lows. And if you guys go to my YouTube, Big Gains Club, I have a video that I said exactly what I'm buying. I even have a link. So with M1 Finance, they have a little pie. I told people, like, just copy and paste it. Don't do anything. My top 10 holdings are all over 250% gain on my long-term investing. There's no one I'm down on. There's no one that has not outperformed the S&P 500. So a lot of people don't know this. So I'm just as good as a long-term investor as a day trader.
Yeah.
And
that's important to be diversified.
On YouTube.
Nice.
In 2022, and I've made several updates to that as well and how I moved it. So my hope is that before Trump becomes president, or right when he becomes president, we have about a 9, 10, 15% drop. And then I'm able to buy it again. People are like, oh my God, people are going to be, the social media is going to be Trump's president again. They're going to try to make it a mess out of it.
Exactly.
And then it's when, hey, you guys, that's what you guys said in 2016. Yeah. Now, I was not smart enough to take advantage of that time. And then I'm there to take advantage of it and hopefully continue.
Yeah, because most people would think when Trump comes into office, the stock market's going to blow up, right? Or here's a better example. Most people thought that when Joe Biden came into the office, that the stock market was going to plummet immediately. It didn't. For the next following months after he became president, it continued to go up. Right now, Dow Jones, it's at the highest it's ever been, 38,500 something, right? And with that being said, guys, don't think because a president's going to come into the marketplace that your investments are going to reach its full potential. Anything could happen, especially with the false narrative that this country presents with false news. Like nowadays, news that is supposed to make the market be bullish has it bearish. So, with that, be very careful when it comes to trading, guys, especially when you are risking things like 401k, RRIs, when you're doing options. But I hope you guys learned a bunch with Antonio here. Thank you so much for coming onto the podcast, man.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it.